Okay, hi. I've been trying to record this video ever since yesterday. I kind of have had some issues with technology on my part. I just basically want to walk you through how to make sure that we're both setting up our grids the same way so that our kids can actually see each other. So I'll try to make this very short. So I'm going to go to Flipgrid. I'm going to log in. All right, so the grid that you and I are working together on is our Grid Pals grid. And I deleted the other two grids that were the other grid that you created that was on here. I spoke with some people from Flipgrid, just kind of trying to figure out what the problem was, and they kind of told me to some degree, start from scratch and just see if we can simplify it for ourselves. So this is the grid that when you log in, you should see. And this is the grid that you will need to share with your students in order for them to see it. In order for them to see it, you are going to have to click this share button and copy this grid, this URL, or you're going to have to create the QR code that they can scan that will take them to this grid. That is the only way that your kids will be able to see my kids' videos. You have to give them access to the grid. So you can copy this URL code, or I use Google Classroom, so I would just put it in my kids' Google Classroom. Like I said, or you can do the easy route and share the QR code. Now, with that being said, another way, so like if I click here, my students' videos are all here for your students to see. They're all here. So if you give your kids that QR code or that link, they will easily be able to view my kids' videos. Another way that you could have your kids view my kids' videos is you can print the QR code link for them to view them. However, we want them to be able to access the grid. So after they have viewed like one or two or a couple of my kids' QR codes, then you could create a grid for your kids to respond to my kids, in which after you create that grid, then I will share your grid with my students, and then they'll be able to watch your kids' videos and respond. However, we can't do any of that until we make sure that all of your students are in the grid. So first things first, this has to stay on student ID because that's how I set up the grid. If we put it on school email or public PLCs, we're messing it up. We're messing up the grid. The kids will not be able to get into it correctly. So we have to keep it on student ID. And so you're going to have to enter all of your kids. So like you see, all of my kids are entered. That is the only way that they can access the grid, is if all of them are in it. I would like for this to be more of a, I don't want it to be like where the whole class is recording a video. I would rather it be where, you got my kids are recording videos for your kids, and then your kids are able to listen to a couple of my kids, or maybe even we partner them with each other, like pair them with somebody and they watch that same person's videos all the time. Or, or either they can do it where they just watch a couple of kids' videos and then respond, and then my kids watch a couple of your kids' videos and then respond. But regardless of how we do it, all of your kids are going to have to be in here in order to do it. Right now, I see these three names. I believe this name is yours. And I think you tried to add maybe like two people. I'm not for sure if this is, but you're going to have to add every single student. Easy way to do it is like, so for me, I'm going to add my student Caden. His last name is Arseman, so I'm just going to put his last initial. And then when he logs in, he just needs to put Caden. That's it. And then I'm going to add him. And so when he scans the QR code, or when he goes to the link that I send for your grid for your kids, he would so when it pops up, he would put in Caden. Now, one thing I have done for my kids is I have printed out, their QR codes, and they have them inside of a journal. So you could do that for your kids too. Once you have them entered, you could print out, the QR codes. It is going to print out mine and your kids, but you could easily just cut your kids out and give your kids theirs and just throw the ones from my kids away. Um, So that's that. And then once you have all of your kids entered in, you're just going to update it. And once all of your kids are in there, that's when we'll be ready to go. We're not going to be ready to go like to where the kids can converse back and forth until all of the kids are in there. Um, with your video that was in here, I was able to see the video, but when I would click on it, it continued to say still processing, still processing. And it said that for about 24 hours. So that's why I finally contacted Flipgrid, and they advised me to just delete the grid and see if you could start back over because they didn't see any issues with it on their part. But other than that, I hope that this helps to some degree. So, number one, we got to get all your kids in first. Number two, once your kids are all in, click on share, give them either this Flipgrid URL or this QR code, or you can share with them in Google Classroom if you use Google Classroom. And then your kids you can create a new grid after your kids have watched some of my kids' videos, and they can go and respond to your grid. The way that they will respond to your grid is just by once you create your grid, you would click that share and you would share your new URL or your new QR code for your grid with your kids, and they would respond to my kids' videos. So I hope this helps somewhat. I know it's not like the perfect video, but I really would love to get this started. My students are so excited and they're anxiously awaiting to be able to hear your kids and guess where they're from. So hopefully we can get this together. All right. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.